live and only 6 minutes early of being an hour late.
Right.
Something like that. Anyway, here we are in the parking lot of Sprouts Market.
Lon likes to dwell on that.
We had a Monday night class last night, which was very nice.
He said it was more than 2 people.
We had more than 2 people. Actually, we had people coming from like San Francisco and Southern California, Costa Mesa area, or San Diego. From San Diego to San Francisco.
That makes it sound awesome. Actually, they're the awesome ones.
They're the awesome ones. So
We know it, and we appreciate it.
Yes. Good morning, dear.
It's a crisp day in Sacramento. I'm fond of muggy days. I am 4-layered up, 2 sweatshirts, 2 hooded sweatshirts, a turtleneck, and a t-shirt. Yeah. Anyway, already, and it's not even freezing yet.
No,
I am, but it's not. What's Lon going to talk about today?
I'm going to. Today is a national, or maybe World Hermit Day,
I thought it was oatmeal day.
and it's also Oatmeal Day.
That's because it's crisp weather.
That's what hermits cook for themselves in their lonely hermitage.
Do you want me to say something?
Yes.
Oh. I didn't.
Or
know
I'll take the camera off you.
I thought it was already. Okay, because you were talking. So I don't have much to say, obviously. I'm just staring. I'm just trying to unthaw from the last store where my fingers became numb from shopping.
We were on the death card last night, and you had a cool thing that you wrote and read for us.
I wrote, yes, because, well, I'm going to talk about being a hermit. When I like to spend, I've talked about this before, an hour or an hour and a half every day, because I'm very speedy and busy, and I have to enforce time to be alone and sit in the middle of the day, and I have my half a cup of coffee then, and I get out my books, which are not all Crowley books or anything like that. I read a wide variety of things and let them all explain Thelema to me in a different way. And that way, when I come back to Thelema, I understand it from a wider perspective. And I add that to my repertoire of thinking. Anyway, but in that hour and a half, it's my hermit time, I think, because I become inspired and... Okay, and after half a cup of coffee, that's only have that much, I'm more than inspired. I'm a little wacko for about 3 hours, but it's okay. Lon's used to it.
Yes, she gets wound a little tight. So.
And I get out my German eraser and my pencil and my pads, and I write all over inside of my books and in the pads too. And a lot of it I don't understand later, so I can tell I'm a very cheap drunk to start with. Half a cup of coffee, anyway. But I've always been that way too. So anyway, I'm going to just recommend that we all, and everything I talk about is stuff that I want to do or I aspire to do, not anything I'm very good at. Although I am good at after all these years of being with Lon, I'm good at saying, Lon, you can't come in for an hour and a half. I'm going to read now. It's also an antidepressant.
Thank God she doesn't do it in the bathroom.
And yes, and it is an antidepressant as well. And old people need that. A cheap, not too many side effect ones. Just a half a cup of coffee in the middle of the day. But when you need to take out time every day, and I have time for maybe 6 hours of sleep. I tend to go to sleep and wake up in the same day. Like go to sleep at midnight and wake up at 6:30. Is that bad? I don't know why, because I don't know how to manage my time, or I just do all the physical things that need to be done, and period, that's it. So those things seem to take more time than, anyway.
Well, yeah.
Anyway, so I'm recommending that you take time out every day, even if it's only, you can only afford 15 minutes because you have other jobs to do besides, you know, your home stuff or other things you have to do. And maybe cut down a little bit of computer or phone time or online time, and spend time becoming inspired, because when you're inspired, and we all are,
you give your light to the world.
You're the light of the world.
Yeah.
So try to take out a little time every day, and it becomes a habit. If you can make it anything after 6 weeks, you can make a habit of it.
You're really good at schedules and habitual.
I like schedules, but I'm not really good at it. But
Well,
I'm good at. I have not. Things that are good for me are hard for me to schedule. But things that just work, I'm good at scheduling. Let's put it that way.
Well, I tell you,
Self-care is very difficult to do.
During the height of the pandemic, when everybody was kind of a hermit,
Are you flipping it?
I'm flipping it. The schedule, making a schedule and keeping to it, even if it was a dumb, stupid schedule, pretty much was a survival necessity.
Well, I like to be half on schedule and half just loose. You know?
Yeah.
A nice balance of it, because that's everything I like to do in pairs.
Well, anyway, our friend Michael from San Diego area.
And Golden Lotus.
And Golden Lotus, OTO in Garden Grove, is up here. Huh?
Okay.
I think it's Garden Grove. Yes, of course it is. And he's going to take us to lunch today before...
Well, at least we're going to lunch with him.
Yes, we're going to... I was assuming he was...
Oh, it's always assuming.
Yeah, we'll go in his car.
That's right.
Yeah, there we go.
I'm going shopping.
And you're going
And
shopping.
you're going to do the Hermit.
I'm going to do a little hermit talk. And that's it. Thank you very much, darling.
You're welcome.
Also,
Be the light of the world, dear.
Yes, that's our job.
It's everybody's job.
It's your job, too.
Yes.
Okay. I'll say, do what thou wilt shall be the whole of the law.
Love is the law, love under will.
Okay. Now you can hear, I will take the camera off of you and I'll set it up. Talk amongst yourselves for a second while I set this up.
You don't want to ever sit on it. You know, this helps a lot.
What's that?
This helps a lot when you do this, but you don't want to do that, right?
No. Okay, here, if you say it helps a lot.
Well, it makes a flat surface.
Okay,
Set things on that.
It's just doing the thing like that.
That doesn't help, right?
That doesn't help. It makes me see the steering wheel.
Okay, goodbye.
See.
You
Okay,
don't want you to see the screen.
there. That's probably a little bit better. Anyway, yes. Let's talk about the Hermit card. Let's talk about the Hermit card. Now, Crowley's Hermit card is a wonderful, weird-looking thing here. Now, I got his Book of Thoth, which is sort of our textbook for our ongoing class on the Thoth Tarot. There's what he's got as the Hermit. Okay, now we're looking at it backwards, I think, because we're on my little telephone with the reverse thing. But, you know, compared to other more traditional Hermit cards, this is pretty bizarre and abstract, okay? Especially in this light. There's the Hermit there as Thoth. Okay, you got sort of a profile of the ibis-headed Egyptian god Thoth, who is looking really intently at that egg. Now, in the alchemical story that's told through the images and concepts of the Thoth Tarot, that Orphic egg has a story, has an alchemical story. And it's an episodic story. That egg comes flying in, kind of totally empty, and swirls around the magus or the magician card. Sort of comes flying in from pre-existence, saying empty, if you will. It's winged, but it's an eggshell. And in the alchemical story of the Thoth Tarot, that egg is going to eventually be a new or a continuous life. So it's not that it's a dead egg that needs to be reborn. This is a process that is continually going. But in the metaphoric story of the egg, it comes in. It's an unfertilized egg containing all the potentiality of existence itself in it. Okay, all possible possibilities are, I guess, latent, unfertilized in the egg that comes flying in the magician card. Now, the magician card, or the magus card, is the alchemical element of sulfur. Excuse me, of mercury. And there's this thing, okay, and I'm going to talk about it in a second. In alchemy, mercury, salt, and sulfur, those qualities, they sort of correspond to the Hindu gunas, okay? But when salt and sulfur and mercury are all combined in a balanced way together, the sulfur sort of ignites and fiery things, and the salt sort of fixes it and gives it the capability of form and structure, and then mercury is the communicative conduit of the force. That put them all together, they constitute another alchemical substance called vitriol, which is an acid. It's an acid that can dissolve anything. As a matter of fact, it dissolves everything. So it's really hard to find a bottle to put it in because it dissolves the bottle. But anyway, this vitriol is eventually in this tarot story going to be very important, because the tarot in its Kabbalistic story tells the story from the first spark of creation all the way down to the climax of the descent into matter. In tarot, that would be the 10 of discs, or the court card, the princess, Earth, princess of discs. That is the climax of the descent into matter. But the magic being such that when it hits that climax, it triggers a brand new spark at the top that starts the whole process over again. And when Crowley discusses the Hermit and the Ten of Discs and the Princess of Discs, he's talking about this climax of the descent into matter. It signals the redintegration, he calls it redintegration by spirit. Redintegration means returning to the former estate. Get down to the bottom, it's like a bump, like a cosmic, astronomical bump when a star just implodes, gets so, the gravity just crushes in on itself till it hits that iron bottom density, and then it explodes in a supernova and seeds an entire new star nursery. The climax of the descent into matter is the signal, or signals the redintegration by spirit. Okay. And Crowley starts to talk about this in the Hermit card, because the Hermit has a combination of, I guess we could say, alchemical, planetary, and Kabbalistic features that are going to be very important in the mechanics of that redintegration. Okay, at the very bottom, at the climax of the descent into matter, the magician, Thoth, is Mercury, Earth, and the Sun. Now those three things also are the three ingredients necessary for the fulfillment of the great work. Crowley mentions it. Okay, Earth. Okay, for Virgo. Okay, Earth, Mercury, and the Sun. And that Ten of Discs, I've talked about it before. The lowest of the low of the tarot cards is a wild and crazy invocation of Mercury to start the whole thing over again. But anyway, I digress. I'm going to read what I have to say about the Thoth Tarot card in the book. Okay, Understanding Aleister Crowley's Thoth Tarot. And it's a short thing, so don't get too worried here. I'm going to take too much time. Okay. The title of the card is really The Prophet of the Eternal. The Magus, notice he's called a Magus. The title is includes the name of another tarot card, the Mercurial card. Prophet of the Eternal, the Magus of the Voice of Power. It's the zodiacal trump of Virgo. Mercury rules. Mercury is exalted. And I'm going to just give away something right now. In the alignment or the assignment of planets to each of the decans of the zodiac, 7 planets are assigned to each decan. The planet that is assigned to the Ten of Discs is the Sun. The Sun in Virgo. Virgo is the Earth. Okay, hang on. The original design, wrapped in a cloak and cowl, an ancient walketh bearing the lamp and staff. Before him goeth upright the royal Uraeus serpent. That's the original thing. Okay. Here's a couple things, mnemonic of Crowley, wander alone, bearing the light in thy staff, and be the light so bright that no man seeth thee. Be not moved by aught without or within. Keep silence in all ways. Now, if you think you have kind of difficulty wading yourself through the subtleties and the modern artsy kind of concept. Now, Crowley gave Harris the basic concept, and she submitted several or perhaps even many sketches before she started painting. And this is what she said in a letter to Crowley in 1939. She said, and she must have written him asking about that egg. Okay. And this made me feel so good when I read this. She says, "Why don't you like my egg question? Is it because you don't know the answer?" I get shit like that at home all the time. Okay, this is now Lon talking. By now, you're probably tired of hearing me talk about the special virtues inherent in the element Earth. Okay, I go through a lot saying because Earth is the lowest of the low. It's connected to directly to the highest of the high. And that the princesses are a special kind of court card. They don't rule 30-degree periods of the zodiac like her three family members, but she is like the throne of the ace, and the ace is spirit. So spirit and earth are connected. They go together. Spirit sits on the earth. The earth has spirit in it. That's that spiritous earth that is withdrawn in the alchemical process, okay, and talked about in the Emerald Tablet. So, you're probably bored with me talking about that. So you probably think you've heard enough about how humble earth is uniquely connected to spirit and how it helps regenerate the highest high because of the simple fact that it's the lowest low. Well, get ready to hear some more, because we're not through yet. As a matter of fact, the pages that follow, and I'm not going to read all of those, don't worry, you're going to get some pretty big doses of this doctrinal medicine that Crowley calls the climax of the descent into matter. Why is it so important for you to keep taking this medicine? First of all, because it will help you understand the living nature of tarot. More important, however, because you are the grand climax of the descent into matter. I've tried to organize the material in this book so that by the time you read about the last card of the tarot, the Ten of Discs, you'll be armed with enough occult knowledge to comprehend the great magic that takes place there. It's a process Crowley calls, quote, the mode of fulfillment of the great work. I'm sure you wouldn't do this, but if you were to turn to the back of the book and read what I've written about the Ten of Discs, you would learn, albeit prematurely, that the three cosmic players that are responsible for creating that, quote, mode of fulfillment of the great work, unquote, are Earth, Mercury, and the Sun. That shouldn't surprise you, really. After all, Earth is that special lowest of the low element you're getting so tired of hearing about. Tarot is a province of Thoth, or Mercury, and the sun is the secret seed of universal life that we knew was going to be so important when we first saw it radiating from the front of the fool's groin in the Thoth Tarot. Earth, Mercury, and the sun have their first important strategy meeting in Atu 9, the Hermit. And you see the sun in his lamp. Let's see if I can get it. Now that lamp, I'm sure it's out of focus here. The lamp in his hand has the sun in it, and it's actually the Enochian seal for the King of Fire, okay? Of the fire tablet. Okay, just look at how Earth, Mercury, and the Sun come together in the Hermit. He represents the zodiac sign of Virgo. Virgo is the mutable sign of Earth. Virgo is ruled by Mercury, and Mercury is exalted in Virgo. I mean, Virgo's happy to see Mercury, and Mercury's happy to be in Virgo. Okay? The Hermit carries the lamp of the sun with which he gives his light to the world. It's as simple as that. We've met the Hermit once before as the hooded figure that officiates at the royal wedding in Atu 6, the Lovers. And while he is sexually ambivalent, he is indeed a he, and an important expression of male creative energy. The Hebrew letter sacred to Virgo is the Hermit is Yod, the 10th letter, and the first and supreme letter in Yod-He-Vav-He. In a very real way, the tiny flame of Yod is the fundamental Hebrew letter. All the other letters are created from this basic form. As the hidden seed of the Hebrew alphabet, Yod also symbolizes the mystery of sperm, the hidden seed, and a central secret, the central secret of fertilization. See how the Hermit stares at the Orphic egg. Okay. Let's see. Okay. If I were that egg, I'd be nervous. Crowley writes, in this trump is shewn the entire mystery of life in its most secret workings. Now, this is the secret of life in its most secret workings. Yod. Later on, or earlier actually, no, in this case it'll be later on, in the lust card, the card that's assigned to the Hebrew letter Tet, which means serpent, it is the secret of life in its outward form. And so it spells in English a word that Crowley uses a lot, especially in his book, The Book of Lies. He calls it it. It. And he capitalizes both the I and the T when he starts talking about it. But I digress. That's a whole... There are it chapters in the Book of Lies, and if you have a Book of Lies, you might want to see that, because it's talking about the secret life and the unsecret, and the inner and the outer. Okay. Shewn the entire mystery of life in its most secret workings. While, in my opinion, this remains true, we have to remember that Crowley died before the discovery of DNA, and so his understanding of biology was naturally incomplete and based upon obsolete doctrines and theories. There is, however, an abundance of images in this card to handily accommodate more scientific discoveries. And it doesn't take a rocket scientist to tell us that this card is loaded. Let's see how Harris graphically handles this. First of all, the figure of the Hermit himself is one big stylized yod. He sports an ibis head of Thoth Mercury. The only other visible part is his hand. Yod in Hebrew means hand. He stands in the fertile field of wheat, the heavy-headed shaft suggestive of sperm. He carries the lamp of the sun. He is dogged by Cerberus, the three-headed guardian of the gates of the underworld, whom Mercury, Hermes, tamed with honey cakes during his mission to rescue Persephone from Hades. Perhaps the most intriguing image on this card is what appears to be a wriggling sperm cell. Okay. There it is, right there. But if you could get close enough, you'll see that it's a baby in the fetal position. Tiny baby. That little thing on the top of its head is like the head sutures of a newborn or soon-to-be born child. Actually, it's called the homunculus image, first drawn in 1694 by Nicholas Hartsocker, a noted advocate of the long discredited theory of reproduction called the principle of spermous performation. If you look closely at the head of the homunculus, you'll see a large-headed baby curled in the fetal position. While this concept is based upon biologically inaccurate science, it expresses the more universal and magically correct doctrine of correspondence. As above, so below. You may find it rewarding to study the Hermit trump in conjunction with Atu 15 and the Devil. Okay. That's all I'm going to read to you out of the that this morning. I'm going to close with another aspect of the Hermit that for many of us is also very significant in our own personal magical lives or magical journeys, if you want to use that term. When Crowley was structuring and putting together his ideas for a magical order or a magical society, just an outward organization like Freemasonry and sort of in a sense a highly esoteric treatment built on the structure of mystical organizations like Golden Dawn or Freemasonry, that he organized the idea for Ordo Templi Orientis along three broad categories of grades, and he based those categories on something that was said in the Book of the Law concerning the three grades of hermit, lover, and man of earth. And so in the structure of the Ordo Templi Orientis, the introductory grades are that of man of earth. Then the next order within the order are the degrees of the Lovers triad. And finally, the Hermit triad is at the top. So you could sort of see the unfolding of Yod-He Vav-He-ness, in those degrees. But there are three main grades: the Hermit, the Lover, and the Man of Earth. Generally speaking, we could say that the Man of Earth deals with more or less the basic in your face aspects of Hermeticism, and the Lovers triad deal with the mysteries of the Holy Grail, and the Hermit triad being representative of the supernal triad, crossing the abyss, and the mechanics of the supernal triad. So at first you can accept sort of the concept theoretically and see it at work, and if you're part of the organizational structure, you see how it manifests in the various degrees, just like Freemasonry has its Blue Lodge and its chapters Rose Croix, and it has its Kadosh degrees and things like that, which is all very, very fine and good. But Constance and I have been in the OTO. Next year, I'll be in the OTO 50 years. And I've had the almost unique experience, or a very rare experience, unfortunately, of experiencing a great deal of time and participation in all three of those grades. And it only occurs to one, sometimes after years and years later, exactly when it was that you've passed from Man of Earth to Lovers to Hermit. And I guess it took the pandemic and how Constance and I were obliged to transmute the work that we did in the way that the outer circumstances demanded it, for it to be driven home what one's roles might be as a hermit. So just like the Magus card in the Thoth Tarot represents not only Mercury, okay, planetary Mercury and alchemical Mercury, okay, it's the title of an initiatory degree, the degree of Magus. On the Tree of Life, that'd be number 2 on the Tree of Life. And the Hermit card, because Hokmah on the Tree of Life, number 2, is the natural place of the Yod, of Yod-He Vav-He, and Yod is also the Hermit. So can you see how this is coming together? How the Hermit with his Yod hat, being totally silent, sometimes invisible, but giving his light to the world in the same way as the magus, the person of the grade of magus on the tree of life, is the logos, who gives his word to the rest of the tree. And he doesn't care upon whom the light falls. It falls equally on the just and the unjust, as the character Death says in the goofy movie Daduva, the Doomsky and the Smarten. And now a hermit I be. I moved away from the camp. I tend a garden so rare, but I really don't care what blooms and what dies. Both the fool and the wise get the light of my lamp. And that's my little story about the hermit today. Excuse me, I'm looking forward to lunch today with our good friend Michael from Southern California. Until tomorrow, continue to be good to yourself, be good to each other. Do what thou wilt, shall be the whole of the law. Love is the law, love under will.